Some of the most storied names of Australasian golf attempted to wind back the years last weekend at the Lakes Resort in Pauanui. At stake was the Nagle Charles Trophy, currently held by the Australians. Billed as a Trans Tasman golfing test match, these golfers weren't going to let age diminish their Anzac rivalry.
Today is something that started off last year, the traditional Ryder Cup style New Zealand versus Australia match, but it's in the Legends Tour, so the legends of the game, people who've won British Opens like Sir Bob Charles. So there'll be 2 players from each country going head-to-head in the match play situation. There'll be 6 matches. There's a lot of rivalry going on, a lot of ribbing between the Australian and New Zealand team, and in fact it's been going on for weeks during the Legends Tour of New Zealand.
There's a bit of sledging going on, as you would expect, between New Zealand and Australia. We like to think we're the underdogs, you see, and going to come through. And last year they gave us a bit of a hiding, so we've got something to play for this year.
The Trans Tasman theme wasn't just confined to the pre-round interviews, both teams wearing their national colours with pride. The first pairings out saw locals Stuart Rees and Mike Moynihan take on Australia's Neil Wall and Richard Beer. A match-up so even that it finished all square, the Kiwis and Aussies starting with a half point each. Next teams to tee off pitched Wayne Davies and Peter Hayes against Lucien Tinkler and his partner Paul Dalgleish. The Aussie duo too strong for the Kiwis, winning 3 and 2. Australia now ahead 1.5 to 1/2. New Zealand's third group out saw Lakes Resort's resident pro Richard Ellis teamed with John Griffin.
Go Aussie.
Their Aussie counterparts knew they were up against home course advantage.
It's got some of the toughest holes you can find in New Zealand too. Quite intimidating, so it's a real test.
Some of those holes on the back nine, you've got to walk down single file, so that's how narrow they are.
And so it proved that local knowledge won out. Ellis and Griffin getting New Zealand back on level terms with their 3 and 2 victory. But Australia hit back in the 4th pairing. Peter Criss and Mike Zilko defeated Garth Domigan and Mark Sandry 2 and 1. Australia leading 2.5 to 1.5. So it was Sir Bob Charles to the Kiwis' rescue. A day before his 75th birthday, the New Zealand legend took on an Aussie pair many years his junior.
There's a lot of young players here that I don't even know. Some of the Australians I've never met before. They're from a totally different era to mine, but I just hope that the guys that I'm playing have a little respect for old age.
Following an exquisite tee shot across the water on the 10th, Sir Bob duly drained the birdie putt. The pioneering left-hander was in fine touch on the greens. He and his partner Martin Webber were 2 up with 8 holes to play. Meanwhile, the last group of Craig Owen and Peter Hay Mackenzie won out over Australia's Mike Ferguson and Jeff Woodland 3 and 2 to level the overall score at 2.5 apiece. The Australians watched on nervously on the 18th green as Sir Bob only required a 2-putt to halve the hole and give New Zealand the title. The golfing night centimetres away from wrapping the title up in grandstand style. New Zealand gaining suitable revenge for 2010.
Last year was close. We lost 5-1 last year, and yet a lot of the matches were close. These guys were passionate out there today. Look, they're just a bunch of... It's classic New Zealand and Australia rivalry, and they try like hell, and it's important to win, but at the end of the day, there'll be a fair bit of social gathering going on in that clubhouse within the next half hour or so.